problems. So the word is given like this. Please read this question. The question: a company manufactures two different types of the products P1 and P2. Each product requires the to two drilling machines are there. One drilling machine, one is a milling machines, drilling machines, profit and etc. The point is how to develop an equations here. So before make equations, the question is, to say that that is a this. Here is a let Z is, please read the question. The maximum profit 250 units and 400 units. So better to write here maximize, because the question is given profit. Please note down this value profit. Profit means maximization. Maximize Z is equal to 250 x1. Let this as a x1 plus 400 x2. Let x1 and x2 are the number of products on P1 and P2. The number of things, number of items on product P1 and P2. Now come to the point of the subject to constraint. Subject to constraint is equal to 2x1 plus 5x2. First you write down 240 first. Here is the question is availability. This is, please note on this point. This is a very, very important point, availability. The concept of the availability is the symbol is less than or equal to. Next, go to the second equation. 4x1 plus 2x2. First you write down that is a 200 here. 200. The question is availability. So the point is, the first point is 2x1 plus 5x2, 240, and this is 200. So less than or equal to. So x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. Once if you make equation according to the of a equation, you know how to solve the equation. First you take same thing, same previous. So 2x1 is equal to 2x1 plus 5x2 equal to 240. Let x1 is equal to 0. Same thing, you know that x1 is equal to 0. So x2 is equal to 240. 240 divided by, to say that 5. Okay, 240 uh, divided by 240 divided by to 5, so that 48. So x2 is equal to 48. Now go to the second, like this. X2 is equal, if x2 is equal to, if x2 is equal to 0, so x1 equal to 120. Go to the second equation. Second equation means 4x1 plus 2x2 equal to 200. Sometimes in the examination point of view, prepare the equation, develop a linear programming, determine the optimal product volume. Product volume means you have to calculate x1, x2. In sometimes examination point of view, develop an equation. Equation, just you write down the equations and leave it the problem. Don't solve the problem in graphical point of view. In sometimes if they want, if the examiner wants the value of x1, x2, you have to calculate the value of x1, x2 with the help of graphical method only. Next, go to this. X1 is equal to 0. So x2 is equal to how much? 100. Same thing. X2 is equal to 0. So x1 is equal to 50. Now take this graph point, take the graph sheet or take white paper, whatever it is, maintain the scale like this. This has x1 and x2. So the maximum value in x1 is equal to 120 and maximum value in x2 is equal to 100. Better to take, to say that 25, 25, these are 25 and 50, 75 and 100, 125, etc. Let this as a 0 and come to this point again 25, 50, 75 unit wise, 100, 125 and like this 150, depends upon your values only. So this is x1, this is the x2, y-axis is a x2 only. And come to the point, x2 is equal to 48, first equation. X2 is equal to 48, 48 near to the 50, take this value like this, near 50. X1 is equal to 120, like this. These are all are approximate, better to use graphical method. Take scale and join these 2 points. Let this as a first equation. Go to the next. X1 is equal to x1 50, 50 like this. X2 is equal to 100, 100. Now you join these two equations. So according to this as a second equation, put the points here second. Now according to the statement less than or equal to, both are less than or equal to, both are less than or equal to means the shaded part should be below the constraint lines. Consider the area is a, I mean the required area for the given problem is like this only. Put the corner point. What are the corner point? Intersecting point A. This has a B and a C only. So how to calculate the corner values is there. For example, take A corner. Please, according to the graph, and please note down the value. I mean to say that this has a value. So A. So what is a value? A is equal to take a x2. X2 means there is no value 0 comma 50. Like this B approximate value, like the x1 is equal to nearly or 30 comma go to this 48 whatever it is approximate value. Go to the C coordinate. C is equal to 50 and this is a 50 and comma 0. Take all values of substitute in z equation. Z equation means and take this value z. Z means here is a come to the point. Z is equal to, take this, z is equal to, what are the z? 250 x1 plus 400 x2, 400 x2. So at A, same thing. So already you know that at A, 0 comma 50. Now come to this point here. So z is equal to 250 0 plus 450, like this at B, at C, etc. Out of these two values, select the maximum value, write down the statement at the maximum value at A, B, C, R. This is the final solution of the given problem. Okay, now, my dear student, I'm going to explain you one more problem, that is a formulation problem. Please note down this problem. And the problem is like this only. So the question, the difference between the previous question, this question is, please read the question. The XYZ company manufactures two different products, A and B. Each product is processed in three different departments. So how many departments are there? Three departments. So first of all, you have to write like this. First, write down here. So that is first department wise. Write like this. Department like this. Okay, so another one is there are two types of products, A and B. So go to this department, make the equations like this. Another one is read the products, so A and B. So another one is products A and B, full stop. The capacities of the departments are limited to 45 hours and 35 hours and 30 hours only. So again, third column, please, according to the statement, please write down capacity in hours, hours. Okay, now come to the button. So how many departments are there? Three departments. What are the department? Three different. Casting. First you write down casting, 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 machining. Another one is finally inspection. First inspection. So what are the value in the A? Please read the question per week only. The question is the departments are limited to 45 hours. 45 hours is a casting. First you write like this. And the machining is 35 hours, and that is a 30 hours. 30 hours only. The casting, now come to the point, casting. And the product A requires 10 hours in casting. Product A requires 10 hours, right? 10 here, 10 here. And if a 12 hours machining, in machining and 6 hours, 12 and 6, 12 machining and inspection 6. A requires like this. Go to the B. Whereas product B requires 7 hours, 6 and 8. 7, 6 and 8 respectively. After that, draw a horizontal line, draw a horizontal line here and write down the maximum value, because the question is given, the question is profit is also known as a maximize is how much a contribution of product of 50 and a 40. So 50 and a 40, A is a 50, B is a 40. You write down 50 and you write down 40 rupees only. They are a rupees, so rupees. Once the problem is given, you have to write, you have to prepare in a tabular form like this one. The question is formulate the problem. Don't use your graphs and no need to calculate x and y values. Only formulate. Here, the question is, please calculate. Let x1 and x2 are two variables on unit products on A and B. So, what first of all, write down equations are very, very important. Maximize z is equal to 50 x1 plus 40 x2. So objective function, this is called as a objective function, is over. Next to go to subject to constraint equation. So what is the subject to constraint equations here? Subject to constraint equation. Now come to the point of 10x1 plus 7x2. First you write down 45. Don't use any symbol. Capacity means that's all. Availability only. Capacity means availability is nothing but less than or equal to. Next to go to second equation means 12x1 plus 6x2, that is a 35. Availability less than or equal to. Next, 6x1 plus 8x2. First you write down 30. Availability less than or equal to. After that you have to write down x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. That's all. The problem is over. Only the question is formulate. Make the equation. Once. In sometimes calculate the maximum profit. If the word of maximum profit is given in the question, you have to calculate x1 and x2 values. Take same question. Take x1 x2 values, substitute in objective function. As z. Maximum means select the maximum values out of 3 corner points or 4. But I don't know how many corner points are available from your graph. Sometimes if 4 corner points are available, it's no problem. 3 points are available, it's no problem. According to that one, I have to calculate all the points. Now one more problem. I'm going to formulate another problem. That problem is, that is select this problem, second problem, and copy. Come to this point here, and come to this A, paste here. Yes, come to the second. So dear student, please read this question. Once if you know the make equations. Please, a company manufactures two types of products and P1 and P2. Each product use the lathe and milling machines. So that you always write here machines, because this is a very, very important point. Don't confuse this. Profit is always right below the lines. Capacity is the right side. Machines is the left side only. I mean to say that first that is the machines. You write like this only. Machines. Draw the line here. And the next one, products. Just to write a horizontal line here. Products. P1 and products means a P1 and a P2. So products. products P1 and the product P2, like this over. Next, this is availability. Now come to please read the question. The processing time per unit for P1 of lathe machine. What are the products here? Two products, lathe and milling machine. First you write down lathe here, lathe machine, and another one is a milling machine. Milling machine. So over. Now come to the point. The processing time per unit of P1 on lathe is 5 hours. Right, 5 here. Next day on milling machine 4. On milling machine 4 here. Next go to another one is a 10 hours on lathe, product T 10. Another one is a 4, like this only. Another is the profit. Here please read the maximum. The question is calculate maximum. Maximum is nothing but here is a selling. Have a profit. So this is a very very important point. Profit. Profit means you draw horizontal line here and write down profit here. Profit here. So the profit in P1 is 6 rupees and this is 8 rupees. And come to the availability. This is the availability. You have to write down availability only. What is availability here? Milling machines and lathe machines 60 hours and 40 hours. 60 and 40. Finish. Next go to the question, formulate linear problem, formulate LPP. LPP, let x1 and x2 number of units on products P1 and P2. So profit, write down, this is a very very important point. Profit is given, profit Z is equal to 6x1 plus 8x2. Subject to constraint, 5x1 plus 10x2. First you write down 60, don't use any symbol. Please read the point. The point is availability. Availability means less than or equal to. Next go to another equation, 4x1 plus 4x2, that is a 40, that is a less than or equal to. Okay, the last one, x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. That's all. Finish. So this is how to formulate the equations and etc. Now dear students, in the simplex method, linear programming as per your university syllabus unit 1, it is divided into two main categories. Linear programming problem, the important topic. The linear programming problem LPP is divided into two main methods. One is a graphical method and one is a non-graphical method. Once if we enter into the graphical method, again it is divided two main categories. First category is a direct equation method. Second one is a formulation method. Formulation method means if paragraph is given, so please read the paragraph. According to that paragraph, you try to make equations. Once if you get equation, next solution part, you know how to solve the, how to calculate the values of x1 and x2 with the help of these graphical chart. Now, I'm going to explain the new thing, that is a simplex method. Simplex, what is the difference between LPP and simplex method? What is the difference between the graphical method to the simplex method? Graphical method is suitable for only two variables. Two variables means if the equation contains two values only, x1 and x2. Sometimes more than two variables. Suppose to say the 5x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x3 is less than or equal to 10. So how to solve the equation? Because graphical method is not suitable. Go to another method. That method is called as a simplex method. Okay, now I will show how to solve the, simplex method, the definition of simplex method and etc. Now, the main definition of the simplex method uh, is to say sometimes uh, that is called as and this. Yes, come to the point. Simplex method, the definition of the simplex method. Simplex method means when the decision variables are more than 2, the graphical method becomes incongruency and a linear program problem solved by the simplex method. It means more than 2 variables, more than 2 variables. So how to solve the equation? Simple logic. Don't confuse it. Simplex method is a very easy method. And another point is, if you refer any standard textbook, because the number of standard textbooks are available in the market, but if you refer any one textbook, methodology is different. If you refer number of textbook, automatically you will get more confusion, because already I told you there is a no formula, there is a no definition, no derivation, only logical point is there. Now how to solve the simplex method problem? If supposed to say, suppose here is the maximize. Suppose here the total simplex method come to this point. So it is a simple logical point is divided into 3 main point, that is called as, that is a less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, equal to. Please concentrate on the this logical point. Now less than or equal to, introduce yes, where s is a slack variables. I will explain the something about explain. Now come to the greater than or equal to, artificial variable and a slack variable. If the equation is given equal to, again it is divided into 2 main categories. One is a less than or equal to, another one is a greater than or equal to. That is a very important point. Now come to this point. Art slack variables, artificial variables. The slack variables, artificial variables, before using simplex method, to constrain need little modification. I mean to say that, for example, if the equation is given like this, suppose to say the equation means 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 5x3 is less than or equal to 40. So this is called as a inequality equation. Now how to convert inequality equation to the equal equation? Inequality, it is highly impossible. Suppose the equation is given like this, it is not possible for me also. So first convert into inequality to equal equation. Then you go to simplex method. Then you go to some symbols. So the symbols, I mean, now just I will explain simple logical point. Just go through my notes and my logical point. It is a very easy method. Now come to this point. Just suppose to say that come to this point. If the equation is given like this, suppose there are 3 methods are there. One is, of a practice, case one. If the problem is given like this, z is equal to, supposed to say that 5x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x3 subject to constraint. So x1 plus 2x2 plus 5x3 less than or equal to 10. Now go to the equation 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3 less than or equal to, supposed to say that 5. Next another equation 3x1 plus 2x2 plus 8x3 less than or equal to 4. The question is x1 comma x2 x3 greater than or equal to 0, all are commas. If the problem is given like this. So according to our logical point, please refer. So everything is given in the chapter only, in this logical point only. Dear students, please follow this methodology. If the question is given less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and equal to. So if the less than or equal to means, introduce slack variables. If the equation is given a and artificial and slack variables, this is again, it is divided into 2 categories, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. That is the second, leave it. Now come to this point, first equation. And before going to convert the inequality equation to equal equation, we have to use unit matrix. That is very important. What is the unit matrix here? Unit matrix 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Okay, now come to this point. First equation, take the first equation. First take conversion is very, very important. Once if we know how to convert inequality to equal equation, problem is very easy. Now come to this point, z is equal to, first you write down case 1 equation. So 5x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x3. So leave it. Now subject to constraint equation. So x1 plus 2x2 plus 5x3, because this is inequality equation, so better to go to equal equation, plus 1 S1, because unit matrix this is a 1, so that you have to use the 1 here. The remaining, there is no other equation, second equation, 0 S2 plus 0 S3 equal to 10. Like the go to the second equation. Second equation means, so second equation. Second equation means 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3 plus. So come to the point, in the second matrix value is 0 only. So that 0 s1 plus 1 s2 plus 0 s3 equal to 5. Go to third equation, 3x1. So that is a 3x1 plus 2x2 plus 8x3. So come to this point, plus 0s1 plus 0s2 plus 1s3 equal to 4. So subject to constant equations over. Now come to how to introduce this objective function value also. So that is the objective function value means this, the value of slack variables and objective all are equal to 0. So that 0 s1 plus 0 s2 plus 0 s3. Now how to write the equation, last equation. So what are the variables here? x1 comma x2 comma x3, another s1 comma s2 comma s3 greater than or equal to 0. So this is the first case, how to convert the equation value. See that, dear students, this is the less than or equal to given. Less than or equal to means this is inequality equation. Inequality equations mean take this slack variable value. This is a slack variable value. So that write down the equations like this. Now the first case, of a conversion of first case is over. Next to go to second case. Okay, second